Karen. My name is Chesley. I sure am glad to be here today. Oh, wow, we got a good story today. It's exciting. Why do you think it's exciting? Oh, because you're just going to have to listen to it. Are you ready? I am ready, Chesley. I didn't sing my theme song. This gospel train is chugging up the track, chugging up the track, it's chugging up the track. This gospel train is chugging up the track, chugging to the glory land. Yeah, get on board this gospel train. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. And enough. Yeah, that's enough, Chesley. Yes, we are ready to go with our Bible story today. We're talking about Jesus' fishing lesson. Oh, and as the excited, did he help them catch digging? Well, we'll find out what Jesus did. He had a plan. You know, Chesley, the disciples were really sad. Why are they sad? They had Jesus. Well, Chesley, they had seen him crucified, but they didn't know he had risen from the dead. And so now he's here. He's going to walk on the earth about 40 days, but they don't know all that. And so they're really sad. What are they thinking of that? Well, finally, all they knew how to do was fish. Some of them, and like Peter, he said, well, Jesus is gone, and I thought everything was going to be different. I didn't know he was going to be killed, and so he was just all nervous, and he didn't know what to do. He didn't know anything else to do but fish. He said, I'm going fishing. And some of the others said, well, me too. And so they just headed out there. That's what they did. And so and they fished. And how did that thing work? Well, Chesley, the way they would fish all night, and the next day they would have to clean the fish. Well, the next day they would go to market and they would sell the fish. Oh, wow. Oh, I think it's kind of tired. I think they were very tired, but this is the way it works. So they went out, and several of them, like Peter, he said, well, I know what I'm going to do. I'm getting my fishing boat. They went out and they fished all night, and they did a whole bunch of fish. Well, Chesley, they had nets, and they would keep casting that net out, and no fish. No, they must be not good fishermen. Well, Chesley, God had a plan in this. There was, the Lord was going to do something here, and they didn't understand what all was happening. But Chesley, you know what? Here they were exhausted, and about that time, they saw a man on the shore, and it was Jesus. They didn't know it was Jesus, though. And he said, I tell you what, said, cast your net over on the other side, on the right side. You're on the left, cast it on the right side. And so they thought, what? We fished all night, it didn't make any difference. But they did what he said, because you know what? I think he sounded like he knew what he was talking about. And so they just said, well, let's just do it. I think they thought, well, it won't hurt anything. So they did. They threw it over on the other side, and the next thing you know, no, there was fish. Chesley, their net was full of fish. How did that happen? Chesley, Jesus was showing them he still loved, he still cared. When they finally recognized who he was, I think it was kind of the scary thing. Oh, Chesley, it was so good, though. Here was Jesus. They thought they had seen him crucified on the cross. And he's alive today. He's alive today. But Chesley, back to our story. I mean, they were just in a state of shock. And they said, what is going on? We never saw anything they never saw anything like this. They were so shocked. But they pulled them, they got into shore, and they looked, and you know what Jesus was doing? I don't have any idea. He said, let's clean the fish. No, there he was. He already had a charcoal fire going, and he had fish on it. Oh yeah, he knew they was hungry. He knew they had worked all night. They were so hungry, and he cared about something like this. Their special needs, their food needs. Yes, their food needs. They needed strength. And there he had, and there was bread, and there was fish. He had fish on the fire, and then he had some bread. And he said, well, bring some of your fish. And they were so excited. How many they had? And did they count? They counted them. And you know what, Chesley? It was 153 fish, and not just that. Here's what, the title of our story is Jesus' Fishing Lesson. And then also what we're going to talk about, Chesley, when we go to see what Jesus said to them. Let's just go down here when he said, Jesus said, bring some of the fish you've now caught. Simon Peter, he went up and drew the net full of large fish. It wasn't just little tiny fish, but it says large fish, 153. And although there were so many, the net did not break. That's a miracle, Chesley, what God did for them that day. It was such a shock to them because they had seen Jesus dead, and they didn't think they would ever see. I think he tried to tell them, while he was walking on earth, he tried to tell them what all was going to happen, but they just couldn't believe it. But here it is, Chesley, now what they're seeing the truth, and it's amazing how it's touching their lives now. They're seeing him for who he is. Look what happened here, and this is a miracle. It was a real miracle. Now they had fished all night, caught no fish. They were exhausted, and all they had to do, he said, cast the net on the other side, and they did. And here come these fish, 153. I don't know why they told us exactly how many large fish. And so when they went to market, they was going to make a good amount. When they went to market, they would make a good amount. It's just an exciting day as they visited together and they realized this is Jesus. What an exciting time. Jesus cared about them. He was concerned for their fear. He was concerned for they didn't know what was happening. But then he was letting them know he's still here. I'm still here. And that's not all. Even when he went on to heaven, back to heaven, he's still with us, Chesley, every day. And he helps us fish. Well, Chesley, Jesus can help us in anything. I don't care what it is. You need, like in lessons? Yes, I believe he helps people with their lessons if they study. That's right. He can help you with your test if you've studied. Now, if you haven't studied, that won't be very good. But Chesley, it's a good thing when we do the right thing, and we ask the Lord to help us. And what about when you do the wrong thing? Chesley, when we do the wrong thing, that is exact time that we need to come to the Lord Jesus and tell him we're sorry and we want to do better, and he will forgive us. He will forgive us and help us to do better. Jesus' fishing lesson. I tell you what, Chesley, Jesus cared about their livelihood, their living, how they made their living. It was fishing. And if they just did what he said to do, he knew. He knew where the fish were. And so every day, is he going to do that? No, Chesley, I'm sure he didn't do that every day. But every day they knew to say, Jesus, help me. I'm going out here to go fishing. This is how I make my living. And I'm trusting and depending on you. And so we can do the same thing. We can do the same thing in our daily living. Whatever it is, we bring it to Jesus. And kids can? Yes, kids can. And Jesus hears and he answers in the way that's best. In the way that's best. We don't always know the best. And we say, Jesus, you got to do it this way. No, you can't talk to him like that. That's right. We can't talk to him like that. He has a special plan, and he knows what is very best for us. And that's what we want. We want to be like Jesus and honor him and serve him the rest of our lives. Jesus' fishing lesson. They learned a big lesson that day, and it helped them going forward in life. But right now, you have to go to bed. Is it time? Yes, Chesley, it is time. I think it's too early. I think it's too early. No, Chesley, it isn't too early. Right now it's your bedtime. Tell everybody goodbye, and you'll see them next week, the Lord willing. And I'll see you next week, and I sure don't like dinner. Hey, did you like the hat? Chesley, you're stalling. Yes, they like your hat. We'll see you next week. You have a great rest, Chesley. Okay, I will, but I think this is kind of, a little bit early. No, it's not early. We'll see you next week, everybody.